Hey guys, welcome back to the weekly. This is a new segment. We're just going to give it a try. As you can see, we've got Mr. Luke.
Hi, everyone.
Luke is behind the scenes a ton. You probably have seen him in a couple webinars, or you definitely read a lot of his work that he puts out, as he is the mastermind behind our blog and really does some amazing work there. But Luke does a ton of industry research, and we always talk about this stuff. And so I figure, why don't we just record it while we talk about it and just kind of give these more industry things that we're pulling or hearing from vendors or partners and be able to share it with everybody else. So this is the weekly.
So a few months ago, there was a cotton ban floated by the United States, and the price of cotton has gone up a bunch. It's like a core component of everything we do, right? The raw material cotton. And about 80% of all the cotton in the world is produced in one province in China, and it's the Xinjiang province, which is sort of in northwestern China, up near Mongolia. Mm-hmm. And you may have heard about some of the political strife with the Uyghurs and detention camps and forced labor being used to produce cotton. So the U.S. banned cotton and tomatoes from Xinjiang province, and that's 80% of Chinese cotton.
And that was when, though? That was, wasn't that like 5 years ago? 4 years
No,
ago?
it wasn't 5 years ago. I mean, the U.S. has always banned forced labor from imports. That's always been a thing, but they've kind of two things. One, we've kind of looked the other way, and the other thing is that it's always hard to source where the actual cotton comes from, because even the U.S. exports a huge amount of the cotton that we produce to be turned into textiles overseas. So 80% of the Chinese cotton industry has been disrupted, and, frankly, people expect cheap cotton goods. Cotton trades in a really narrow range when you look at the long-term trading trajectory. I've got a good picture of this, and it spiked one time in 2011, and actually asked a good friend of ours what was going on in 2011, and he told me that it was more of a technical issue in the market with hoarding and some contracts not being fulfilled, and it's kind of a bottleneck being created in the actual structure of the market. There wasn't like a supply crunch or a demand crunch or anything like what's happening now, where the actual underlying conditions are very different. The demand has changed because of the pandemic. The supply has changed because of the political and social ramifications of the supply chain ban, and things have just changed. So the price has gone up in this volatile environment. But this is a little bit different than I think 2011, and it's going to affect the industry differently. And it's interesting to see that almost a year after this policy was announced, it's really starting to have a deep effect on what's going on with the cotton supply chain. So who knows where this goes from here?
Yeah, super interesting. And I'm reading here in this article, so in 2020, administration banned imports because of that forced labor. So it seems like it was definitely a further ban from that region in China, which is, like you said, that highest producer, which has driven prices up over the last 8 months, up another 40%, and just a huge skyrocket over end of September, early October.
Yeah, it's another one of those hockey stick graphs that's just, things are just shooting straight up.
You've got Next Level. I know everybody's gotten the emails from them changing and pushing prices up directly, which is just going to funnel down to everybody else. Now, hopefully, though, most people's pricing matrices are a multiple of whatever their goods are and not a set price.
Yeah, if you're going to raise your prices, now is the time to do it to get ahead of the curve, because you can see that they've held off on letting these prices go down the chain, but it's really starting to hit everyone now. Even most of the raw cotton grown in the United States is exported to, Vietnam, China, Bangladesh, and turned into thread there, because we don't have the textile industry we used to. So things are just changing. This is I think, a real change, and not just a temporary, price goes up for a while. But maybe it will be. I don't know.
Super interesting. And then, because I know you reported back on Sanmar also adjusting prices, which everybody got, a month ago, 2 months ago?
Yeah, I think that was last quarter, right?
Yeah. And I didn't know that the majority of the cotton was made here, though, but then sent. boats to China to be woven and then sent back.
There's that famous tag about like Egyptian cotton, but I think there was some statistic that 90% of the fabric marketed as Egyptian cotton is from somewhere else. So the cotton supply chain is really complex and, really a global affair. So if something goes wrong one place, it goes wrong everywhere.
And we're going to have Chris Blakesley, president of Bella Canvas and Aloe Yoga, at Print Hustlers Conf. Bella is really, really helping to pull off this conference, which is no easy task. So that's going to be exciting. You guys can definitely write in your questions and we can ask them as well. They have such an incredible insight to that supply chain. But I know everybody's been working super hard to get everybody the garments. But, as you can see, if you don't place those orders, they literally are not there or cannot be there by the end of the day. I was just going to say, do you think there's an interesting potential in this pushing possibility of alternative, like the whole recycled polyester fabrics or, maybe other regions, for example, for us or not? I guess it's hard to tell too, especially because certain types of garments are needed in by certain types of customers too.
Well, the thing to think about is the consumer really sits at the top of the supply chain. So if they won't pay the prices, things will change. Maybe poly will become more common. I think we'll definitely see some underlying changes in consumer behavior if T-shirts become $40. But right now we're not talking about that just yet. So
where can people find the weekly, Luke, to be able to sign up for your newsletter?
It's at printavo.com/blog/newsletter.
All right. You guys can be able to join. Thanks so much for joining this week's weekly. It was a guy. See you in the next one.